Hey guys, Jeremy and Stephanie here with Skill Level Up. So make sure to like and subscribe our page as we share some of our success secrets.
Yes. And today we're going to be talking about one of our favorite topics,
Money.
money.
Stephanie and I were born wealthy and our parents were wealthy. We continued that, and the only way to get rich in the United States of America is to have rich parents. Would you agree?
Yes, I don't know where I would be without my trust fund.
Exactly. So if you can't tell, we're being sarcastic. Yes, Stephanie and I have money now, but we did not for most of our lives.
Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't until the last few years, really, that we've had any money to speak of.
Yeah.
Even the first 7 or 8 years of our business, we paid ourselves hardly anything.
I think there were some weeks where our employees definitely had bigger checks than we did.
We definitely had some employees that made more than us,
Mm-hmm.
even throughout their careers with us during those years. There was a method behind our madness. We knew the bigger picture of what we needed to be doing with that money instead of paying it to ourselves. We'll talk about that in another video about buying assets first, not toys. But right now we want to talk about changing your view of money, because I think a big shift for us to be able to accumulate more money was to change the way we thought about money. And there's not enough information out there, I feel like, about that subject. There's only a couple speakers and authors that I know of that I've really been a student of that talk about it.
It's kind of a taboo topic, people don't want to address it or think that there's a need to really change their mind about it, right?
I would say so. Even when you talk to other people about it, some people, if you've noticed, I don't know if you comment, write stuff on social media about anytime about wealth or prosperity or anything like that, but you can get some pretty strong negative reactions from people about it. It can be an emotional subject for people, but what I've noticed is the people that are the most negative don't have any money. Mm-hmm. So is there a connection there? So why should we change our viewpoint about money? One reason I think is if you feel that passionately against something, are you ever going to have it in your life?
No, it's a topic for another time, but the whole law of attraction, if you're repelling something with your thoughts, why would it come to you?
Exactly. If you hate cats with a passion, you don't want them anywhere around you, are you going to have a cat in your house? No. Cats are probably not going to like you either. They're going to sense that and they're going to run away from you. Mm-hmm. So in a weird, crazy way, money's the same thing. If you say that you have a strong, passionate feeling against it, why would it come into your life? Mm-hmm. It's not going to. One of the things you have to change about your viewpoint of money, especially depending on if you were raised in a religious background like we were, is you have to realize that money is not evil. Yes, there's obviously the scripture that says, but even if you're religious, think about what that scripture says. Is it money that it says is evil? What does it say?
The love of money.
Love of money.
Yes.
So we can debate that another time, but think about, could money be evil? Probably not, because think of all the things that we need it for to just exist on this planet today. This is how the planet is ran. So you can't consider something like that as evil and expect to have it.
It's a good point you brought up about, the whole religious aspect of it, because there's a lot of people who have lived with nothing to do good or go and live in a foreign country with nothing. So I feel like whether it's intentional or not, there is a whole persona that's given to money in certain circles in the world where it makes it appear evil.
Well, that it associates maybe holy people with being poor.
Right.
Which is not always the case.
Yeah.
They say Mother Teresa, it cost a lot of money to make Mother Teresa poor, because all those projects she was involved with, somebody had to back those with a lot of funds. So
that's true.
Nobody runs entirely with no money.
Right.
So we have to change our viewpoint and not see it as this evil, bad thing. If you want to have more of it, hey, if you don't want to have more of it, more power to you. You're probably not watching this video. The thing I think, and it's weirdly enough a scripture too, but you have to be happy to receive and give.
Yes.
That other scripture that holds people back is better to give than receive. But if you think about giving people something, how would you feel if the person didn't want to receive it? wouldn't make you feel very good about giving them something, and you probably wouldn't give them anything else.
Mm-mm.
So not only do we have to be good givers, which I do feel is important to keep money circulating, you need to be willing and able to give it away. And that's another reason why it's not evil, because if you have money, you can give it to people that need it. You can share that wealth.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's a good thing, to share some of that wealth.
Yeah, look at all of the good things that it can be used for, medical or whatever. Like, there's so many positive things that can be done with just by making donations and giving it away.
Exactly. I notice a lot of those people that speak against money, a lot of times those are the ones that we end up contributing to, unfortunately. Like, they don't always have that in their life, and when they hit hard times, they need people that have money. So if you don't have money, nobody in their life has money, how are you going to help those people?
Yes.
How are you going to help other people if you don't have it? But you have to be a good giver, but it's also important to learn to be a good receiver. When somebody gives you something, you have to be willing and happy to accept it. You have to be happy when sums of money are flowing into your life from customers, from your business, from your investments. You have to be excited to receive those, and not, sometimes we feel that feeling of maybe a little bit of unworthiness. Should I be getting this money? Should somebody else have it instead?
I know something that I've personally struggled with, and maybe you can relate, is feeling automatically the thoughts pop in my head of what can I do back for this person, or what can I give them back? As soon as I get that gift, money, whatever it is, automatically my thinking goes to how can I repay them for this? So that's something that you have to switch off too, because most of the time people genuinely aren't giving to receive something back from you. So you have to be a good receiver. Right,
because then instead of them having the joy of giving to you, now it just becomes an exchange, almost like a monetary exchange.
Right.
So sometimes we just want to smile and say thank you. We don't always have to have oh, let me do this for you.
Yeah.
Sometimes we just smile and say thank you and be a happy receiver. Another thing, I think of money as a tool. When you need money, it's there to provide some of the services that you need. It's a tool. It's a hammer in your toolbox. When you need a hammer, you can't just take a screwdriver and take the back end of it and pound things with it. Mm-hmm. And so having an abundance of money can give you the tools that you need for certain things in your life. If you have to go to the doctor, you're going to need money. You're going to need money to buy food. You're going to need money to pay rent.
What's that saying that we like? Money buys options.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. You may not have a choice if you don't have any money of what happens to you sometimes in life in certain situations. But when you have money, you have more choices, more options. So it's a tool. Somebody once said, having too much money is like saying I have too many hammers. Well, if you need certain tools for certain jobs, the more of them you have, like you said, the more options you're going to have to be able to do the job right. So yes, can some people abuse money and power? Of course. But it's a tool that we need in the right hands. It's more about being the right type of person than it is. The money doesn't have any emotion. The money isn't good or bad, like we talked about. It's just a tool that's there for our use, and we need to change who we are if we're worried about money being evil or something like that.
Yeah, it's another topic maybe.
Right, because money they say it will enhance who you already are. Mm-hmm. So if you're a jerk and you get a lot of money, you might become a bigger jerk. If you're a loudmouth, you might become a bigger loudmouth. But if you're a charitable, kind person, then why are you worried about having more money? Because if anything, it's probably going to give you those options, those opportunities to be more kind and charitable.
Right. You're probably going to use a lot of your money to help other people. So
Exactly. So money doesn't buy happiness, of course, but a lot of the things that make us happy require money.
Yes.
I'm a lot more happy when I can do the deluxe packages when we're on vacation versus doing the basic budget packages. Would you say so?
Oh, yes. I'm a lot happier when I can skip lines or do the VIP experience and not have to wait in long lines and, that kind of thing. And that's all things that cost money.
Even having the choice of what kind of education you're going to give your child, what kind of car you're going to drive, what kind of all these different things. Money can help enhance your life and make it more comfortable, which can lead to not necessarily maybe genuine happiness, but it can lead to some happiness in that moment. You're going to feel better about yourself, about your life.
It just relieves a lot of stress too. And this kind of ties into this a little bit, because if you're stressed out and you've got this anxiety over money all of the time, you're not going to be happy either.
Mm-hmm.
If you have money, and I've told this story before, when we were broke, when we were first married and young and didn't have any money, and I was on a tight budget when I would go to the grocery store, I would dream about the day that I could go to the grocery store and just purchase what I wanted, get the kind of cheeses that I wanted and things like that, you know? And so that was a happiness for me. It relieved stress whenever I could increase that budget at the grocery store, or not have to be so stressed out about what I was spending on my shopping at the store. So even things like that can really make you happy when you're not worried about the amount of money that you have in there.
Well, yeah, if you look at the studies, the number one thing most married people fight about is money. So it causes a lot of stress not having money, for sure.
Right.
Being a poor person doesn't make you good. I feel like we kind of covered that pretty well.
Right.
Another thing that I've noticed is people that are wealthy and have money talk about money more versus people that don't have money. A lot of times feel like that's too sensitive of a subject.
Maybe it makes them uncomfortable.
Makes them uncomfortable. They might feel insecure. And it's not necessarily that you're telling people how much you make or anything like that, but maybe you're talking about financial ideas that you have, business ideas that you have, investment ideas that you have, and you can really get a lot of great ideas the more comfortable you are talking about money. And sometimes it can lead to little, business partnerships. It can lead to, bouncing ideas off of one another. The more open you are talking about money, the more educated you are about money, the more opportunities that you have.
Maybe it's the more comfortable you get talking about it too. You're not fearful or worried about certain people that you can. There are certain people you can talk about money with, and maybe there are others you can't. So maybe identifying that too would help relieve some of the stress when you're talking about money.
Right. It's like in business. If you're a business owner watching this like us, I like to talk with my business friends about business, and sometimes I'll get ideas from them. Sometimes I'll get re-inspired about something. Sometimes those little sparks that can change things. So the same thing when you're around other successful people, you're talking about ideas. You're talking about ways to do things differently. You're talking about ways to really kind of make life a little bit easier, some shortcuts, things like that, things that have worked for them, things that work for you. So talking about money is not necessarily a bad thing. It doesn't need to be this taboo subject that makes everybody uncomfortable around the dinner table. I know, even among families, a lot of families don't want to talk about money. I know in my household growing up, you didn't talk about money. It was a very sensitive subject. There were lots of fights about money. I feel like in our house, we talk about money. We talk about money at dinner time, and not always in a, sometimes it's, whoa, money's, we spent too much this week or whatever. Yeah, that can be the subject. But really having little family meetings about budgets, about how we can make more, about what we can invest in, all these different things, I feel like it's important to talk with your spouse about.
It can become a fun topic too. I mean, maybe it's you have something that you want to incorporate into your lifestyle. Maybe it's, let's say you want to buy a boat or something like that. Like, that can become a fun topic of, okay, well, how can we bring in some more money, or what can we do to make that happen? And that would be a topic that would be fun for you to actually have a conversation about.
And then you can teach your kids too of how to learn about money in a conversation like that. Like, we've actually had this conversation. Okay, I don't want to buy a boat right now. I would rather buy some investments with our money and then use that money from the investments to pay for the boat. So when your kids are hearing that and they're learning from you really how to manage money, how to invest money, and instead of being a negative influence on what you pass down to your kids about money, like maybe some of us were with our parents, you can be a positive influence on what that child brings as an adult, their views on money and how good they are at acquiring it.
I know, I'm excited to see, how our daughter turns out with her mindset, trying to stay positive and teach her those kind of life lessons too. That can be exciting to watch. So
educate yourself about money. A lot of people that I tell that to think, what is there to educate yourself about money? There's a lot to learn about money. You're never going to learn everything about finances, about investments, things like that. It's a constantly changing field. Always be educating yourself about money and finance, because it's a subject you're going to need your whole life. It's not
Yeah, that's true.
algebra. You don't just use it in specific fields. You don't just use it when you're in high school. Money is a very important topic that you're going to need the rest of your life. So don't be afraid of it. Don't think it's bad. Learn from it. Embrace it. We're not going to go back to the barter system anytime soon, hopefully. We're not going to be bringing chickens and trading them in for cows. And, that money is an efficient tool to get things done in our society. So learn about it. Don't be afraid of it. Keep learning about money.
Embrace it as a positive thing.
And change your view of money if you have a negative view.
Yes.
All right, so that's this week's topic. Thank you, guys. And good luck with your money this week. Like and subscribe our page, comment, ask us any questions that you have.